Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome back for another review. Today we're going to be doing a little Tubi original. It's called Lowlifes. And if you haven't seen this movie, I recommend that you go out and you watch it. The damn there fucking Tubi happens to be free, and then you can watch it for free. So what the fuck is stopping you right now? Go check this out. This movie's got everything. I mean, let's be honest here. This movie does have everything. It's got blood, it's got gore, it's got hillbillies, it's got cannibalism. You got a nice suburban family in there as well. And it kind of hits up on a lot of the various horror tropes that you know, and also does some beats on things you don't see coming. It's got some wonderful things in it. That's all I want to say. If you have not seen this movie, go out and check it. Because here in a second, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie for those of you that have already seen it. So we can go along for a ride talking about what happens in this movie. Because there's so much good shit to talk about. My rating, right off the bat, I'm going to give this one 7 out of 10. And this is probably the best movie I've seen in 2024 so far. And it's kind of ironic that it showed up on Tubi. So, there is your warning. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. You can pause this right here and then come back and we can chat about it. So, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so this movie kicks off right off the bat. And you see a guy running through the woods and he's yelling help because he's being chased. And we get one of those awesome Achilles slices. Like, you know, Judd from Pet Sematary, and then we see the guy's head get ripped back and his throat slit, and it just settles on this throat slit for a good solid, I don't know, 8-10 seconds to let you know this is a movie that's going to show you some shit. They're not going to shy away from any of the blood, any of the gore. It's just going to be a fun, fantastic time. And then we meet the lovely family, the suburban family from Los Angeles, as they're having a cookout. You have the dad, whose name is Keith. You have the mom, whose name is Kathleen. You have the son, Jeffrey, and the daughter, Amy. And they seem like a weird dynamic, and Amy's a little bit of the outsider of the group. But she's but she's getting a little bit older, and she is trying to kind of get away from the family. You know, she's done with this shit. And we see her do the 1990s, early 2000s thing. That's right. We get a nice Altoid can with some weed in it. Yes, she's got the joints in there and she's out hiding because she's a little drug addict. Even though weed's not really the drug that it used to be in our eyes, but here we are. But then we get to see two lovely hillbillies roll up, and one's name there is Vern, and the other one's name is Billy. Yep, that's right, Billy. A very typical redneck name. And, you know, we have the smart people from Los Angeles, and then we have the people that are not as smart as they're portrayed in the film. So easy trope, and we have them looking for their buddy, and they don't know where he is. And they want to look there in that their camper, and then they see the youngest daughter, Amy, and they kind of want to follow her around, too. Maybe even bark up that tree, if you know what I mean. So the father gets a little defensive and he's a little weird, and we're following him along. And he gets them to leave and go away. Not after there was a nice exchange, because Jeffrey offered him up some chocolate and they offered him some grasshoppers. Yes, these are rednecks, and we know this, so we can win again. So, kind of sticking to that horror trope a little extra hard. But then later on, we see the family is trying to go down the road, and the rednecks are broke down on the side of the road, and one is they're toting a shotgun because I'm a redneck and I need my weapons so I go hunting and shit. So, it's playing it really, really ham at this point, and then this is where you get the fun of it. You know, they're claiming they're good Christian boys. They were raised the right way. You know, they're not going to harm you. And then they want Billy to go with the family down the road so that he can get his piece of shit car to then come up and get Vern. And then they'll be on their way. And they're good people, so why can't they help them? And the mom seems like she doesn't really want to do this, but the dad seems kind of like he's backed into a corner, and he decides to let Billy go for a ride with him. And here's where we get a little fun game where, you pick some adjectives and you pick some their nouns and you make yourself a nice little funny story. And in the process of doing so, Jeffrey kind of makes Billy feel stupid. Because Billy doesn't know what an adjective is, and he's not really sure what a verb is. And when he says the word adverb, he's like, oh, fuck you, I know that's not nothing real. And, they end up stealing the old book from Jeffrey, and he finds out, and he's like, hey, this looks like, I think it's Melior's handwriting. He does them backwards R's and them backwards L's. Because, he's a dumb redneck. And in this process, we see Jeffrey behind him, and he stabs him in both sides of his neck, revealing that the rednecks were not the bad people in this movie like you've been led to believe this whole time. It's actually the suburban white folk. That's right. The white man is the damn enemy. Just like everything else in life, white man is the problem. Typical story, but it takes that redneck thing and it flops it on its head. And that was kind of refreshing because I didn't see it coming because I like to go into this movie blind like I do all my movies. And I was like, shit, we're getting a different story here. So then we see them there, they're cutting up the bodies and they're talking about the eyes and the fingers. And of course you see them over there. Oh, this is finger licking good. Good shit. So they're having a good time, They're cannibals. So they're not just killing people for fun. They're doing it for food. Kind of like how all the redneck people you've ever met like to have guns so they can go hunting and kill food, right? Same thing. Yeah. A little bit of extra expose there for you to think about when you're watching the movie. But once they get him cut up and they put him in the freezer, they then have learned along this trip from Billy that they have a house up ahead. They're the only house up ahead. Nobody else is on the road. And he has a grandpa and 2 sisters that are there. So to these guys, that is easy pickings. They're not going to have to work for their kills this time. So they end up showing up to the house. And this is where we kind of learn that the reason why the movie's called Lowlifes is because these people go around killing lowlifes. Hitchhikers, druggies, people who this earth really wouldn't fucking miss. And in their eyes, this here redneck family is something nobody would miss. So right off the bat, they knock, and the redneck family kind of just lets them in. Julianne is the one sister. She really is very nice and inviting. Pa's very big, nice, and inviting. But Savannah's the one that's a little bit hesitant. And she's kind of the smart redneck out of the group. And earlier in the movie, when they're talking about the family, they show Savannah, and she's like pulls back an arrow and shoots it into a pumpkin. A little bit of foreseeing the future of, wow, I wonder if this archer's going to come into play. Maybe, maybe not. But, so they let them in, and they're asked if they have a phone, and they said, no, they don't put a power line all the way out here for us. And then they go, well, there, Billy has our only cell phone. And they're like, you only have one cell phone? They're like, well, yeah, we only need one. Why would we need more? Who we gonna call? And then the suburban dad makes a little smart-ass joke about being on a family plan. They all laugh, and the rednecks look all fucking confused. So they stay. They're gonna have spaghetti and meatballs a la Savannah, which does not mean that it's made of Savannah. It just means that Savannah made it. So they're eating dinner, and the family's thinking, this is going to be good. This is going to be quick, easy kill. We'll get them, get the fuck out of here, and get out of Dodge. Ram. But instead, they hear this big, loud thumping of a man coming, or a creature or something. But it turns out that is Julie Ann's boyfriend, and he is as redneck as it comes. And he is named after your favorite sandwich, the number one at McDonald's, Big Mac, because he's big and his name is Mac. And in case he ever forgets his name, being the dumb redneck that he is, he does have Mac tattooed along his finger, no, his knuckles there. I don't understand why that is there, but I guess rednecks are just so fucking stupid. They can't remember their own name, so they tattoo it on their finger. So when someone says, "Who are you?" you say, "That's me." Okay. Really big trope on how dumb rednecks are in this movie. So everybody decided to stay the night. They're going to leave in the morning, and we start to see where these people are going to be going to lay in their beds. But first, Jeffrey offered up some chocolate to these guys as well. So now you're like, something's up with this fucking chocolate. This kid keeps giving it to everybody. They like to kill people. They had to put something in this fucking chocolate bar. And then we go back to Vern, who's standing by his truck, and the sheriff pulls up, and Vern is the typical redneck that he is, and he bad talks the sheriff, runs his mouth, says, "I could shoot you right here," when the sheriff tries to give him a ride back to town or his house. He doesn't want it from the sheriff, because the sheriff is a dick. But then we see good old Vern puking his guts out, and he says he had too many grasshoppers. Oh, you had some there, there fucking poison chocolate there, boy. So we go back to the house, and they're all getting settled for bed. Jeffrey's going to sleep in Billy's bed, which is like a closet. And the two parents, they're going to get their own room. And Amy is going to be sleeping in the same room as Savannah. And this is kind of key pivotal moment, because if you paid attention earlier in the movie, you'd have seen Amy was talking to her boyfriend Blair, which is not always a boy's name, but since this is 2024, maybe she recognizes themselves as a man. And then Savannah doesn't seem to ever really have a boyfriend, and you can kind of tell there's some hints when they're staring at each other that Savannah might be a lesbian. So, let's see how staying in the same room goes tonight. But the dad ends up going and telling the son, there, Jeffrey, that they're going to do this in a certain order because Big Mac kind of messed up the plans. He's a big hulking dude, and we don't want him hurting anybody. He's going to be a hard one to take down. Jeffrey says, "I gave him the chocolate. Poison should be going through him any time now." And the dad says, "Well, don't do anything until I tell you to, and that you can kill Julianne." So, in the process, we get all these kind of moving parts. At this point, Vern decides he's going to walk back to the house. You have the dad who's headed up to go kill Pa, the old man. And we see Julianne go in the bathroom, puking her guts out. And she's so sick puking her guts out in the toilet that Big Mac wants to go use the bathroom, and he can't because that toilet's taken too. She literally says to go use a different shitter, because we're rednecks, so we use the word shitter instead of toilet. Yeah, we're that type of folk, and So Big Mac goes outside, and he's feeling a little sicky, and he's like, ugh, and starts puking everywhere. And Jeffrey shows up behind him, and Jeffrey says, "Hey, how's it going?" Nah, I'm just kidding. Jeffrey's very stoic and doesn't say anything, and Big Mac turns around and sees him and goes, "Oh, hey, bud, better watch out. There's a big mess over there." And Jeffrey says, "I'll show you a fucking mess," and attacks him. And here we get a nice little battle scene between Big Mac and little Jeffrey. And as we all know, in the story of David and Goliath, how does David win? Well, he's just way faster than Goliath. And the cutscenes in this, when I watched it, I thought it was a little bit kind of similar to like the kill scenes in Saw, where everything is just kind of like over the fucking place. But you do kind of see things here and there, like some stabs and all that shit. So I kind of didn't care for that, but it is what it is. It still looked good, but I don't know. After you watch, what are we at now? Fucking 10 Saw movies and a bunch of other movies that ripped it off and stole that. It's just a editing technique that we've seen so much of that I would rather have not had it in the movie, but it doesn't destroy anything in that sense, like I said. And we get to watch him start to take down Big Mac, and Big Mac fights back. But then when Big Mac's on top of him, Big Mac all of a sudden has to move to the side because he's going to throw up. And Jeffrey comes up behind him, and he has like this wire that he wraps around his neck and chokes him out while slicing his neck open a little bit, and we get some blood and stuff like that. And in the process, the dad sees this, and he's like, shit. And he wakes up Pa, so then he axe right to the face of Pa. And in the meantime, we got Savannah and Amy having themselves a little old lesbian play date in the bedroom. So, they're all touching on each other and kissing, and they hear a sound, and no, don't worry about that. Let's smoke a little weed, even though nobody's going to like that. And, we find out that Blair is Amy's girlfriend and that she is also a lesbian, but her dad doesn't know, but her mom does because her dad would not be okay with the lifestyle. So then they hear something else, and Savannah decides, I don't want to do this right now, and kicks Amy off while Amy's in the process of pulling out a knife to kill her, and she lands on the knife right in her leg. So then Savannah, being the good person she is she puts a little bit of dressing on it, tightens it up, and she's like, I'll go get some stuff for you, hang on. And she goes outside, and this is when Dad decides to yell at Jeffrey and tell him to go to his room, which isn't his room, but he needs to go away because he didn't listen to his damn dad. And Dad's the one who runs this fucking show, so you're gonna fucking listen to Dad. He does play this part really well. I'll give him credit. The actor for this does a fantastic job. His name's Matthew McCall. He does a great job in this role. He is kind of reminds me of like the dentist, similar to that in like stoicness, but he has some great one-liners, almost a little bit of American Psycho-esque kind of feel to him too. But he goes and he gets the mom because they're gonna do their killing now, and then Julianne feels behind the toilet and she finds an eyeball, which was given to Amy earlier because she chose not to attack Billy, so she got to have the eyeball because the eyeballs are her favorite. She dropped it underneath the toilet and didn't realize it was gone, and then the other person, Julianne, finds it, and voila. Now she's screaming, she's running, the dad grabs her because she goes up to check on Pa to tell him, finds him dead, and they decide they're going to be giving Julianne to the mother to kill. And in this process, the Julianne gets her face slammed off it because she's moving too much. And you can tell the mom kind of doesn't want to do this. Like, she's kind of getting out of this whole let's fucking be killing all these people. And she wants to kind of quit doing this garbage in a sense. And she feels like it's having a negative effect on their son. So, with that, she decides that, yes, I'm going to do this because clearly the husband has control over her in a dominating power struggle kind of way. And while she's getting ready to do the killing, we see an arrow come through a window and right through the front part of the mom's neck, like whoosh, right through. And she dies. So yes, that archery scene we saw in the beginning of the movie. And then when they decided to show the trophies in Savannah's bedroom, it all was just foreshadowing for one kill in this entire movie. Which is a great callback. I like when movies do this, where they let you know something's coming up ahead, but they don't tell you everything. So when you see it, and when it does happen, it can kind of shock you a little bit. But then here's where all hell breaks loose. We get we get Julianne tied up, and they're trying to get Savannah to come out. Mom's dead. You got the two kids there, and they're just torturing this girl to get Savannah to come back. And here's where you hit kind of like the Hostel-esque torture. She gets her face sliced, her fingers broke. But eventually, Savannah does sneak into the house, and she takes Jeffrey by knife point, walks him out there, and Amy convinces her that if she does not give Jeffrey up, that her dad is going to kill her sister. And then it's 2-on-1, and she will die. And she decides to let him go. And then we see her tied up. So the two of them are tied up, and now the dad is just kind of gone off the deep end, and he's having a good old time. He's cooking something up in the stove top, and you know what he's doing, but it doesn't make it any less fun. It's still a great time. And he goes out there, he bites a little piece off, and he's like, ooh, not too salty, this is perfect. Then he asks Julianne to eat it, and she doesn't want to, and she goes, come on, I think you know what this is, it's gonna smell familiar. And then he pulls out Mac's arm, which has his name written on, on his fucking knuckles, and is like, see who it is? It's Mac. And then she does say Mac, and he goes, ooh, look, you can read. Because, redneck are dumb. And then he goes, here, in case you need a hand, and puts the hand on the arm, and it's just like, all right, now you're just getting a little cartoony here, sir. You're having too much damn fun with your cannibalistic tendencies. So, here's where he's trying to get them to eat, and they don't want to listen. They're not going to eat because you're just going to kill us anyways. So then he ends up cutting the thumb off of Mary Ann, or I keep saying Mary Ann. Cuts the thumb off of Julianne, and he's licking it and trying to get her to give it to the old Savannah. But then he figured out Savannah's the one I should be going after here. Maybe I'll cut off one of her fingers. And in the movie, they showed that she could play piano earlier. And he decides that instead of letting you play piano and drawing back on the old bow and arrow, he's going to cut off all of them. But then she starts talking to him about how she just fucked his daughter. And he's like, no, you didn't. She doesn't do that stuff. She likes boys. And, Savannah's like, well, that's because Blair is her female friend, not her boyfriend. Which, she's spilling the beans and talking about how she's doing these drugs and all that stuff, and the dad can't believe it, and he's kind of just falling apart, and you got Amy yelling at him like, don't fall for her stupid shit. She's just telling you stuff to make you mad. You're letting them win. Just fucking kill them and burn this fucking place down. Come on, let's go. And here's where we get probably one of the funniest lines I think I've heard in a movie in a very, very long time. Because somewhere's in this whole process of screaming and yelling, he says that you wouldn't have let your mom down, and she says that mom knew about her lifestyle and she supported it, and he like screams at her that no, she won it, and then she literally yells sorry, she yells the line, sorry, it's just so fucking stupid, it's so funny. She yells the line, I'd rather eat pussy than eat people. You'd rather eat pussy than eat people. I want to eat you out, but I don't want to cut you up first. I don't even get it. It's just so stupid, but it's hilarious. It is probably the best part of the whole movie. Like, if you IMDb it and they show you the quotes, that's literally the only quote for the whole fucking movie. And, it's just comical. It's a great line. That's why I said, if you haven't seen this movie and you didn't watch it first, should have watched it just so you didn't fucking miss that part. Not only is the blood and gore fantastic in the movie, but you get some great one-liners. But she screams that, and Savannah gets her hand loose, and then she grabs the fork from the plate and stabs the old dad in the eye, and, he does what you expect him to do, and then he does something fucking weird afterwards, where he, like, rips the goddamn fork out of his eyeball, and you can see the eyeball on it, and he's like, pretty good, but I bet yours are better. Like, why the fuck would her eyeball taste better than yours? Yours should be prime. I've been filling it up with all that goddamn human meat and everything over the years. But here's where you get a huge battle, and I'm not going to go through this whole scene, the whole 100%, even though I just went through most of it, but you get a lot of killing back and forth. Pretty much everybody fucking dies, except for Savannah and Amy, because those are the main people in this movie at this point. And Savannah has knocked down Amy, tells her to get up and run. And the unfortunate side of this movie is when Savannah came in the house at first, she grabbed Amy's phone and she used it to call the police. So the police officer, the sheriff, he was debating on whether or not he was even going to come out and investigate what was going on. But so that's kind of like a thing that happened earlier. Maybe you forgot by now. But Savannah tells Amy to run because she's going to make this long and slow. And as they're running outside, Amy's screaming for her life. And you see Savannah come running down and around the corner, and she's got the sledgehammer over top of her head. And the cop shoots her right between the fucking eyes. Poof, dead. Falls to the ground. And so the ending is, I actually love this choice for the ending, because it seems so fitting and so perfect, because the hillbillies don't win. And the one person of the original bad group who actually did want to stop doing this because she wanted to have a normal life now kind of gets that option. So it seems good in that part. But, sorry, the one part that's popping in my head right now, to go back a little bit, with the dad scene is Julie Ann was told to him that she's a hairdresser. And earlier in the movie, he said he wants to take a little off the top. So when he's lying on the ground with one eye stabbed and after killing Vern, she stands over top of him with a sledgehammer and goes, "How about a little off the fucking top?" and slams it in his head. You see his brains and shit. It's a very cool looking kill. I'll give it that. But it's just the callbacks of things that have happened for them to be able to get to this point. Anyways, the officer, he is calling in what's happened. And then you get this great reference because you got the redneck people who were all being brutally attacked and fighting for their lives. And then you got the people from LA who are the killers. And the cop is like, "I don't know, I've never seen this family like this before, but man, it's real brutal. I mean, this family from LA, man, they took a wrong turn." Nice writing in there because we all know wrong turn is where the hillbilly cannibals killed the old city folk. But here, the city folk were actually trying to kill all the hillbillies. But in the sheriff's eyes, the hillbillies are the bad guys, even though he knows them hillbillies, and them hillbillies ain't ever harmed a single soul. And then the cop kind of does start walking away, and he spots the RV that they've been staying in and stuff. And that's when Amy gets out of the cop vehicle before smoking another joint while in the cop car. And she kills the cop. Then we see her get in the old RV and drive away. And she's going to have herself a good old life. So that is the movie in a nutshell. I know that's a lot to talk about. But, I mean, there's some great kills in this movie. For being a Tubi original, I had no hope for this movie. But I had seen a couple positive reviews. And I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. Fuck it. And I actually thought this was a really fun and a really great movie. Like I said, blood and gore is good. The kills are good. All the acting in this movie is actually really, really good. There's not really a single person that does a bad job. I mean, for the hillbillies to be doing their hillbilly voices and accents and making sure that people know that they're not quite all there, they do a good job. Savannah in moments kind of loses her accent and then has it. So there's a little bit of nitpicky things. But I mean, I watched the interview with these guys, and this was a movie that they had 3 weeks to get everything in order for it, and then they had 12 days to shoot this fucking thing and 2 weeks to edit it. So for a movie that was pretty much fucking concept, developed, shot, put together to be ready to be put out into the distribution, all in less than 5 or 6 weeks, like, holy fucking shit, this is a great movie for that. The special effects team did it for fucking next to nothing, and they did a great job. Like, everything you see in the movie kills-wise all looks good. There's nothing that's just like some really obscene fucking stupid thing that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. They literally took their time with everything in this movie. It is fantastic. So that's why I said I give it 7 out of 10. It is a great movie, and just remember, everybody, I'd rather eat pussy than people!